Induced Rhino back for another commentary in Forza Horizon 2. So as you saw before is my new channel intro. I know, it's a bit of a simple intro, but I just made it with Windows Live Movie Maker and got the sound from an audio website from just a Ferrari. But anyway, welcome to the third part of the crazy Hypercars test run series. So I haven't done this series in a little while. I made the last episode like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't made a video in a week and a half. Well, sorry for that. It's just that stuff's been going on lately. Like at our school, we've just had like a 3-day test, like 5 tests in 3 days, because the country I live in, Australia, all year 3ers, 5ers, 7ers and 9ers, or what you Americans call 3rd, 5th, 7th and 9th graders, get this sort of test around all of Australia to test how well their English and math skills are. I have 2 assignments and exams, which I'm very busy for, and other stuff, but finally, here it is, finally, the third part of the Hypercar series. So basically, if you're new to this series, go check out the other 2 episodes. Basically what we do is we test out 3 hypercars, take them for a run along the freeway and review them. And on the first episode wasn't very good because I didn't talk about them much, but I did on the second episode, and I will be on this episode. So this episode features the Hennessy Venom GT, the 2011 Bugatti Veyron, beautiful car by the way, and the 2011 Koenigsegg Agera, which is also very beautiful, especially that blue colour. It's probably the most beautiful hypercar in the list. So the car we start off with is the Hennessy Venom GT. So I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This is actually my least favourite hypercar. Even though it is the world's fastest car and beat the Bugatti Veyron in 2013, it still looks ugly and doesn't have that much of as good of an engine compared to the Veyron. So why would it beat the Veyron when it only has a 7-litre LSX turbocharged V8 with only a 6-speed Ricardo manual? Well, I don't know. And the worst thing is, they copied this car from a Lotus Exige body. Yeah, and I don't like the look of the Lotus Exige, and I do not like the look of this as well. So basically, they've just copied another car, and yes, this car was manufactured in Texas and assembled in England. And oh, sorry, I was just testing the Veyron. Yeah, so as I saw, like, it is still faster than the Veyron, even though the engine doesn't sound like a lot, or as much as a mouthful, because this only has a turbocharged V8. The Bugatti Veyron has a W16, which is double the amount of pistons. So I just really don't like this car, and it handles terribly. It's like it's not designed for racetracks. It's like it's only designed for straight roads, for testing the speed, or even for drag races. Yeah. So it does have 1200 horsepower, which is a lot. You can adjustably change the engine to either 800 horsepower, 1000 horsepower, or 1200 horsepower. We've got 1155 torque power, and it weighs about 2,500 lbs. So yes, it is lighter than the LaFerrari, and it has 43% font power. So even though it has slightly more power than the Veyron, it is still, I still don't like it, and it doesn't even have as good of an engine. So I just don't understand why this car beat the Veyron. I was actually pretty upset. So let's hop right into it. Well, I guess it's an alright hypercar, but it's not fun to drive, you would say. It's not fun to drive. So let's change the settings like we always do in this series. Back to the units, change the units, and let's go to photo mode, take a look at it. So yeah, the back, maybe the back looks a little different to the back of the Lotus Exige, because the back of the Lotus Exige you have the Lotus word at the back, but as you can see, the Hennessy badge back there, that double exhaust, and those headlights and those double tail lights. So the design, you would say, looks kind of ugly, and that engine gate, so the way that engine is shielded up makes it look like it's shielded up by a very thick rib cage. I hate that. I just hate that. I don't think that's on the Lotus Exige though, but this car is exactly the same as the Lotus Exige because it has the same body, same roof, same doors, same side glass, same windscreen, same dashboard, same interior, same headlights, same tail lights, even the same windscreen wiper. So let's have a look. I guess the side looks beautiful, just not simple, and I hate that front, just the look of that front. It just, that radiator, the shape just looks ugly, and those intakers, no. Hennessy could have done more to this car. Yeah, that's what they do. They copy other cars. This car copied the Lotus Exige, and they've made the Hennessy Velcy Raptor, where they just got it from the Raptor, but I have no idea if they teamed up with Ford to make that. I know that Shelby did team up with Ford when they made the Shelby Ford Raptor. So yeah, the interior looks exactly the same as the interior on the Lotus, and I guess that passenger side looks alright, but that dashboard, the dials are just like the dials on the Lotus Exige. So yeah, it doesn't sound as tough as the Veyron, because it's just so confusing why it doesn't sound like as much of an engine as the Veyron, when it still is a teensy bit faster than the Veyron and has slightly teensy bit more power. And as you can see, at the start it was already spinning out. You just have to be on a straight road for it to handle well. Yeah, this was actually the first hypercar I bought, but then when I realised the handling was worse than the speed and it was rear wheel drive, I was like, oh no, this is gonna spin out a lot. And I was right, it did. So, but what we have got, so this car is also, we've also got a 6-piston caliper brakes in the front and 4-piston caliper in the rear. So yeah, we'll just fix up the damage. So even though this is rear wheel drive, there are less caliper pistons at the back than the front. So this might as well be front wheel drive. It's probably why it handles so bad. So yeah, like I said, this car is really, really fast, which is probably the only good thing about that. That's probably it. The only good thing I like about this car. So the engine features a twin percussion ball bearing, turbochargers, and the engine is connected to the rear wheels, which is why it handles so bad. That big ass engine is connected to the wheels, and well, it's not that big, not as big as the Veyron engine. And you also get programmable traction control, which is alright, I guess. And you don't get as much features. I do not know what happened there, guys. The video just cut out when I was riding the freeway, but anyway, it doesn't matter because it wasn't that much footage, just finishing the ride on the freeway, and just we had a crash, and like I said, it handles bad. It's my least favorite hypercar. So we can move on to the 2011 Bugatti Veyron Supersport. So this is the car we have finally come for in this series. The main and most popular hypercar in the game. This is just beautiful. Beautiful colours, beautiful rims, and a beautiful front. And it's got about the same speed as the Hennessy 10, but it is like a teensy bit slower because, like I said, it got beaten. And yes, it is all-wheel drive. Yeah, the reason why the Hennessy was X-Class, because all I did was change the tyres a little and put a rear wing, a rear spoiler, or whatever you call it. But that just made it look ugly, worse, but I had to do it. So yeah, with the Bugatti, we've also got 8.2 handling, so not as good, but it's all-wheel drive, so it drives better, but doesn't have the best turning. Got maximum acceleration and launch, and braking about 9.2. Oh, damn it. I forgot to change it from kilowatts to horsepower. Well, we can do that now, quickly. Let's just get out onto the road, and we're not going to have a look at it just yet, we're just coming to change the settings. Okay, so let's get back in, and we'll have a see how much less horsepower it actually has than the Hennessy. So,
hey there, what's up?
Okay, so we've got 1,183 horsepower, so only 17 horsepower less than the Hennessy. So it's actually not that much tougher, not at all. Got 1,105 torque power, so less than the Hennessy again. Weighs a whopping 4 tons. 4 ton. Yeah, so, we're already in the car. And in this car, basically, the sort of engine in this car is an 8-litre W16 quad turbocharged, which is 488 cubic inches, which is 8,000 cubic centimeters. So that engine is just humongous. You can see it from back there. So basically what a W16 is just two V8s stuffed together, and the engine is fed with a I'm pretty sure the engine is fed with a 4 turbochargers and 4 turbochargers. So not only have they put a big ass engine in there, but they stuffed it with so much. Yeah, so the rims just look beautiful, but you can that thing at the back, the skeleton at the back just ruins the color. That's all it does. So front looks really good. The shape of that radiator grille looks good. It's a similar shape of the radiator grille on the Bugatti EB110 added in the new car pack, except a lot smaller. And each cylinder in the engine contains 4 valves with a total of 64. Though only 4 camshafts are needed due to the V8R8 configuration of each bank, allowing 2 overhead camshafts to drive 2 banks of cylinders. So, and the engine also, and the big, huge engine, the big 8,000 cubic centimeter engine is a square of 86 by 86 mil. Has an 86 by 86 millimeter square bore and stroke. So yeah, the interior, they could have done a little bit more with the interior. I liked the interior of the original Veyron, the 16.4, better because it had a sort of colour. But they could have done a bit more. I'm saying the interior doesn't really suit the car, you could say. And that engine sounds so monstrous and tough. Way more monstrous than on the Hennessy. Yeah. So, as you know, this car is probably the world's most popular, the world's most beautiful type of car. And you could say, because it's so expensive, it's not rare enough. They made like 200 of these, I don't know. Well, this is the Super Sport version. There's also the 16.4, the Super Sport Vertassi, and you've also got the Super Sport Vertassi, and I'm not sure what the other one is. I think it's the I'm not sure, but yeah, this actually is not a bad drifter for an all-wheel drive. It's actually a really good all-wheel drive and super fast car drifter. So there's a lot of things they've done to this car. So this car will be in the history book, I guarantee. The history book of the 60 years time, this will be in the history book of the best car, because it was just such a beautiful car, and the way that wing is lifted up just looks so good. So, as you know about this car, the original Veyron had a top speed of 407 km, Hypercars, aka 253 miles per hour, driven by BBC Top Gear host James May in 2007. And then this version, the Super Sports, was driven again by Top Gear host James May in 2010, 3 years after the original Veyron drive, and he did 417 kilometers, 259.5 miles per hour. Though later that day, Bugatti's official test driver, Pierre-Henri Lafreniere, drove it on the Volkswagen Aero Lausanne, Germany, and maxed out 434 kilometers, aka 269.80 miles per hour, beating James May, aka Captain Slow, by 17 kilometers. And yes, I do watch Top Gear and I love this show. It's a really good car show. Unfortunately, as you all know, Jeremy Clarkson got suspended and they've added new hosts and all of the chaps, because they love working with each other so much, they've got back together and making a new car show. So yeah, this car also features the transmission as a dual clutch, direct shift gearbox, computer controlled, automated with 7 gear ratios, magnesium paddles behind the steering wheel, and a shift time of less than 150 milliseconds. So the shift time is a teensy bit quicker than the shift time on the Ferrari Enzo, because that's about how much the shift time on the Ferrari Enzo is, even though that car was first introduced in 2002. Though this car, the original one, was first introduced in 2005 and is still making, and Bugatti is working on another Veyron, which will be called the Veyron La Finale, just like the La Ferrari, the La Finale, because it will be Bugatti's final Veyron and will be produced in late 2015 or early 2016, and will also be to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the Veyron. Yes, but after the Veyron, just like after the EV110, they will make a new great hypercar or just continue making its successor, the Bugatti Chiron, which unfortunately is not in Forza. Okay, so now we move on to the final car of this episode, the 2011 Koenigsegg Agera. So yeah, this car, not as powerful and like teensy bit slower than the Veyron, but just looks beautiful. That beautiful Koenigsegg design, and that blue colour just looks so good. And it is rear wheel drive, so, but even though like if a car's rear wheel drive and the speed is bigger than the handling, then that means it won't handle very good and it'll spin out a lot like on the Hennessy. But no, it actually handles pretty good, surprisingly. So this car is just probably the most beautiful hypercar. Yes, the Veyron Super Sport. The Veyron's just beautiful, has a beautiful design and colour, but I reckon this car is has a slightly better design. I reckon this car is slightly more prettier than the Veyron, has a slightly better design. So anyway, we've got a speed of 9.8, so it's the third fastest car in this game. So what we are doing in this episode, we are doing the 3 fastest hypercars and the 3 fastest cars in this game. And yeah, on the last episode we did like mid speed hypercars, and on the first episode we did mid fast hypercars, so basically cars that are medium fast for a hypercar. And on the second episode we did mid speed cars, so cars that are medium level speed for a hypercar. So we've got a handling of 8.3, acceleration 9.4, launch 9.0, and braking maximum. So actually at the braking of the Veyron is 9.9, so surprisingly it's not a maximum. Got 946 horsepower, so less horsepower than the Veyron and the Hennessy. 811 torque power, so less than both again. Weighs about the same as the Hennessy. So let's hop right into it, and we'll take a look at it, and then we'll drive it up to Sistron and then wrap up the video. So yeah, that design just looks so good. So yeah, this car's predecessor, the CCX, I didn't really like. It just had a ugly design and handled terribly, because as you know, in Top Gear, the Stig couldn't even drive it without spinning out, so they had to get the Top Gear wing. But they've done a dramatic change. They've done a dramatic change with the handling, speed, power, and design with the Agera. So this car is way better than the CCX. So you got that back rear wing connected to the two side rears parts where the taillights are. You just got that top, the engine back there. What the engine you have is you got a 5-litre V8 twin turbocharged with 940 PS, which is 305 cubic inches. So about similar engine to the Hennessy, but slightly slower and not as powerful as it or the Veyron. And you have a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. And that front, it just makes it so beautiful. This car will be one of the best cars in the history book, I reckon, too. Yeah, and it's one of Top Gear's most powerful cars ever, and it won a Top Gear award for the best hypercar of the year, or the best hypercar in the Top Gear magazine. And that side just looks, the top part looks simple, as I always say about the side, simple for a hypercar, and the bottom just, you got that stripe and the Agera badge. So that interior also just looks so beautiful, because in the interior you just have those blue dials and the blue buttons on the steering wheel, because this car in the interior features LED lights and the blue hood stripes that go through the entire cockpit of the car, and that it is actually a custom interior with something called Ghost Light. So the sound of it sounds really good. Not as monstrous as the Veyron, but not only do I care about monstrous sounds, but I also care about luxury and design. Yeah, I think that's what I care about most. So yeah, what the Ghost Light is, it's basically the lighting system, which uses carbon nanotubes in a unique configuration to shine through the car's aluminium buttons in the interior, which is what that blue dashboard is. Because those blue dashboards, that's the main reason why I picked this. What type of blue is it? I'd say it's probably tropical blue. That's the reason I picked this. Slightly turquoise tropical blue, because it matches the interior, because the interior dashboard is blue just like the outside. In the inside, the blue's slightly darker. But this car is like not as long as the CCX. So like when you look at the side, it looks like sort of shorter and little. And the performance is, you can go from 0 to 100 kilometers or 0 to 60 miles in 2.8 seconds, 0 to 200 kilometers or 0 to 125 miles in 8.9 seconds, and 0 to 300 kilometers or 0 to 185 miles in 14.5 seconds. Yeah, so unfortunately it got beaten by 4 seconds by the Hennessy GT. This is awkward. Yeah, and there's also the Koenigsegg Agera R, the Koenigsegg Agera S, the Koenigsegg 1 with the word 1 itself and the number 1 itself, the column in the middle, and you can actually get the limited edition. That's the sort of one where you can get the limited edition version in real gold, but that's more expensive, the actual gold version. And the Koenigsegg Agera RS, which is the latest version. So they combined with the RS, they basically combined the power of the Koenigsegg Agera R and the Agera S and called it the Agera RS. And The weight of the engine is only 197 kilograms due to a carbon fibre intake manifold and the aluminium construction. The transmission is a 7-speed dual clutch with paddle shifters. The Agera is the first dual clutch transmission to feature only one input shaft. The second clutch slows down the input shaft while doing upshifts in order to reduce the time it takes to sink the next gear, resulting in faster shift times. All this put together makes the transmission weigh only 81 kilograms or 179 lbs. Yeah, and this Agera features the trademark Koenigsegg doors, the new traction control system, well, not that new anymore, with the LED lighting and the custom interior.
You have arrived at your destination.
Yeah, and it features a carbon fibre body with lightweight reinforcements. The chassis is also made of carbon fibre with an aluminium honeycomb that comes with integrated fuel tanks. The rear wing is electronically adjustable, as you can see we just lost it, and it has auto or manual settings, and control in order has a little compromise as possible low drag and downforce.
Hey, how's it going?
So that's basically
What can I
it
do to
about this
help
car, and that wraps up with the video. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. So check out the other two parts if you haven't seen them. I'll put the links to them down below, and if you want to see the fourth part, which will be the final part, then leave a like and maybe even subscribe. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Sorry that commentary wasn't that good. I just have something wrong with my mic, or not the best mic, and I just lost words. So thank you guys for watching. Bye.